18 WJTS Sports presents the Jasper Wildcats versus the Evansville Bosse Bulldogs. This game is brought to you by DuBois County Tire and Supply, McDonald's, Carpet Warehouse, Eubler & Sons, Mariners Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, and Westside Dairy Queen. Now let's go down to the field.
Welcome to Enlow Field. Tonight the Jasper Wildcats are on the road against the Bosse Bulldogs. The Wildcats with their big win last week over the Evansville Panthers, 42-21, take on a Bulldogs team, 2-1 on the season, and coming off a tough one against Castle, losing 49-0. Hello everybody, I'm Craig Schneider along with Bob Welp and Jeremy Markos on the video. And Bob, the Wildcats back here on Enlow Field. We just played here a few weeks ago to open the season against Memorial. The Wildcats knocking off the Tigers 27-19 in that game. But, the thing that I really liked, I missed calling the game last week, but I did watch the replay and all that, and I was just really impressed with the Wildcats' rushing attack. I mean, my goodness, it's like, start off the season, it's like Schneider, Isaac Day, but now you've got, Winesapple, of course, is involved in the rushing attack as well, but Cooper Ewing, Ian Giesler, man, the slots and the wingbacks just really played some serious football last week.
Well, as we were talking earlier right before we went on the air, talking about Cooper or Ewing coming through, and Giesler, we've been running more of the counters coming to the inside. The linebackers with Day and Schneider, like you've been talking about, people are focusing so much on them, they're stunting, and as soon as Day or Schneider make a move to one side, those linebackers are flowing that way. So Coach Lewis seen that, and unlike the first two games when we went up against Wrights, they were flowing so hard. He called probably 5-6 counters in that game, which was by far the most.
Well, and that's the thing. Because, again, we remember back in the day when we ran it as the wingback counter. But, it seems like that they're kind of getting off that tackle a little bit and spreading a little bit wider, and gives guys like Giesler and Ewing that have that quickness and that speed to be able to take advantage of those opportunities.
Well, not only with those guys having the speed, but our offensive linemen, they've got decent size, but they're not the biggest guys in the world. But the one thing they are, and that's fast. So when we run that counter, we'll pull the guard from the backside. So you not only have the speed of the running backs coming through, when they run that 4-4, the big 325 guy that Wrights was putting in there, our guard was pulling, our tackles coming from the backside, planting it. We were just cutting right up the middle, and it was 5, 6, 7 yards every clip.
Oh, yeah. Well, and again, this is a Bosse football team that's, starting over with a new coach this year, Stephen Mullen. He's in his first year, but he's been at Bosse for about 7 years in various capacities with the offensive line, offensive coordinator. But he is really trying to instill a new program here at Bosse, and things he talks about is attitude, effort, leadership, and he feels like he's starting to get that, especially at that quarterback position where Braylon Bame, he's a senior, and he's been playing in that position the last few years here at Bosse. His numbers are 16-31. 176 yards and 2 touchdowns, but I'm sure his leadership means more than what he's putting up as far as stat line.
Yeah, you've seen him out here in pregame, and the young man carries himself very well. He carries himself with confidence, but it doesn't look like he's arrogant, so he kind of knows the world that he's in. These younger guys look up, they see that, they see the success he's having. If he goes in and he carries the right attitude, that actually means a lot more to these younger players than the actual coach himself.
Right. Actually, his father is the offensive coordinator for this football team, Brandon Bame. And the last time, because, again, they had a great game against Central, beating them for the first time since 2000. And actually, Brandon Bame was on that football team back then. And, again, I'm sure it's great to be able to coach his son coming into his senior season. So, all right, so the kickoff was just kind of kick straight ahead there, and I know the Wildcats had some problems with some kickoffs last week going out of bounds, just don't want to get it right into their hands. And their biggest weapon that you're going to see tonight, and that's Jaden Thomas. He has been outstanding this year. Ben Sims, 24 carries for 201 yards and a couple touchdowns. That Central game and the big win there, 37 carries for 218 yards and 2 scores. Held in check a little against Castle last week, 28 carries for 66 yards, but the Wildcats are really going to have to stop the run.
Yeah, our pursuit has to be key.
And just like that, there he goes. He's got an opening straight up. See if one man can catch him, and they're not going to. And just like that, as we mentioned, Jaden Thomas takes it all the way, 68 yards to open this football game. And Bosse's on top early, 6-0.
This is very indicative. after our Memorial win, Coach Lewis was very worried about people patting them on the back and telling them how good they were and them getting complacent. And then when we came out against Harrison, the first 2 or 3 drives against Harrison, I mean, our defense was kind of sleepwalking. Well, here we get the big win against Wrights, one of the 4 left undefeated teams last week, get that win. We come back here, and it looked almost the identical situation as what we did against Harrison.
All right, so Bosse does go for 2, I think, most of the time whenever they do score. So Bames got his offense out there, and he gives it straight up, and he's not going to get in, so he's able to get it to Thomas. But, man, Thomas, though, taking it 68 yards to start this game. And so Bosse leads the Wildcats early on 6-0 here on 18 WJTS. All right, so the Bulldogs coming back out to kick off to the Jasper Wildcats for their first possession of the ball game. But Jaden Thomas, 5'9", 160 pounds, and he's only a junior, Bob. This is a kid that's, just really already showing in this conference what kind of skill and ability he has. But he's going to be around for another year as well.
Well, when you're talking the Evansville, you're talking big plays, big plays, big plays. Jasper's been very good about their defense and their pursuit, especially from the backside when they try to run the counter to the backside, or even if they stretch it out of 3 and 4 guys, taking the appropriate angles to stop that big play. That right there, with his type of speed and his stop-go ability, as soon as he got through that line, seen that opening, that was all she wrote. We have to get that from the very beginning. Most of Bosse's players will play both ways. We need to get hits on them early and often, so towards the end of the game, they're really dragging.
Yeah, actually, Bosse's coming over here and having to borrow one of our tees for the kickoff. It's kind of the first time I think I've ever seen that. But yeah, regardless, though, again, this is just the thing is with Bosse, we all know what the ability that they have and all that, but it just looks like that they're really starting to get a good structure and a belief and a confidence that, they can compete with Jasper and Castle and Central and teams like that. So, this is just huge what they're pulling off early on in this season. Oh, look at that. Good job by the Wildcats to get their hands on it, to get great field position. Trying to see who made that play. Actually, that was Wallace, number 32. But, Bob, think about that. That's great field position because, he was able to get his hands on that football instead of letting it squib another 20 or 30 yards.
Well, and that's exactly what it is. And Wallace did a great job. Too many times you see these younger guys, when that ball hits them and they see an opening, they'll try to pick up the ball and fumble it. He just fell on it, gave his offense good field position.
All right, so the Wildcat rushing attack, we'll see if they continue where they left off. And there's a big run right on the right side. And trying to see if that was Schneider who started things off. Yes, it was. So Schneider with a nice run. He's going to be close to the first down, maybe a yard short, so a pickup of 9.
Well, Bosse from time to time this year has been running a 5-man front. And they've been running what they call a 5-2 defense. So you'll have 2 linebackers. You technically will have 3, but he's the rover back. He usually goes to the strong side. You get through that first line of defense, and it's 6-7 yards every clip.
Schneider in the backfield. He gets it again on the left side, but the good job here defensively to make the stop. Led by number 52 getting in on there, and that's Hurley Esters. And, the thing is, I was going to talk about their offensive line, but they went quickly for a touchdown there. But a lot of their offensive line, pretty well 4 out of the 5 starters also start on defense. So, it's just going to be a situation with our running game. We just really got to wear them out.
Yeah, and the only thing on that particular one is they slanted right into it.
Okay, so the rush to the right side does come up with the first down yardage, so that's Day making the play. So, and, we were talking about Cooper Ewing, Ian Gieser, and all that, but Day had a great game last week, 17 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown. And, of course, Ashton Schneider, always with his workmanlike effort, 54 rushing yards and 2 scores.
Yeah, Day and Schneider have really stabilized that backfield for Jasper this year, and hopefully it can continue through the year. Good cut.
Right, quarterback keeps it this time. And actually, that's Schneider, Young at the quarterback spot there, number 7.
Well, at the beginning of this year, everyone anticipated Young being the starter. He is back with the team now. We'll kind of see how it goes. I don't know if something's going on with Winesapple or what the deal is. Maybe they just ran a practice and maybe Coach Lewis seen something. So far, what Coach Lewis has done this year, well, I won't question anything. He's been on fire.
Well, actually, Weinzappel's on the sideline with not dressed tonight, so I did not know that situation coming into tonight. So,
but what a luxury.
Right.
You know, Weinzappel has been playing extremely well. And Young coming in, of course, everybody knows back last year when we played Wrights, and it was 4th and 2 from our 28. Man comes out with cramps, he puts in Young. Young goes around the edge, gets 3 yards. We keep moving the ball down.
Right. All right, so Young under center, looking to throw for the first time. Lofts it out there, and adjustment needed to make on the ball there. He was a little bit short on the throw, and defensively, that's Jeffrey LaPointe knocking that away, but he was looking for, of course, his big target, Connor Foley.
Well, the defensive back did a good job of fighting with Foley. The referees, even if there's contact, if no one's really gaining an advantage and they're just kind of hand fighting, they'll usually let that go, and that's what happened on that play right there.
All right, so Day in the backfield. They give it to him on the left side. Maybe close to that first down yardage. I think he got it. Needed 5. He gets about 6 or so. So a 1st and 10 for the Wildcats.
The one thing that Day does extremely well is when he comes through the line, and you've got our offensive linemen blocking those guys, and they're going down on the turf, you're taught as a defensive lineman to hold your arms up and just kind of grab around. Maybe you'll grab the guy's leg. But Day does a great job of keeping his knees high and keeping his feet moving.
All right, so Young keeps it this time and loses his footing as he was trying to break through that right tackle hole there. So again, Grant Young, the starter, a junior, 5'9", 165. So no gain on that play. We'll set it up 2nd and 10 for the Cats at the 17.
Well, usually when defenses look at the offense and you see a different quarterback in there, if Weinzappel's in there, they're paying a little bit more attention because they've seen all the game film this year with him. You bring Young in. Young's got to get his. There it is.
Yep, Giesler cuts inside. He was picked up by number 5, Elijah Wagner there, but again, good positive yardage to set up a little more manageable 3rd down situation.
Offensive line does such a great job when the people are pulling from the backside and even the guys going up, how they're coming around and the bossy pursuit, they're picking guys up. And even if they're not hitting them and engaging with them for any length of time, just knocking them off their stride gives Giesler and Ewing and the guys coming from the wing extra opportunity to get a few more yards.
All right, so the Wildcat offensive line just opening things up and now cutting inside there. Again, nice smothering tackle by number 52. That's Esters. So Sheeter's able to not quite get the first down, so we'll say gain maybe about 4 there. It's going to be 4th and a long 1.
Well, Esters, he's such a big, strong guy, but when you're going both ways, you know, we've seen it several times on teams, no matter what conference they come to, you're going both lines and you're playing against a physical team like Jasper. It will pay dividends in the end.
Day gets it on the right side, and it seems like the openings are more there on that right side because, well, I don't know if he's going to be – it seemed like he had it easily, but he did kind of slip up there. We'll see what the spot is. It is a 1st down, so the Cats will be 1st and goal from the 6. But, yeah, talk about what you're seeing on that right side there, Bob.
Well, we've been running most of our counters to the strong side, so Foley's out there. But that run right there, as you just alluded to on the back side, their linebackers, when they are coming, they're always coming to our strong side. So when that hole opens up, your linemen are pushing down. Days does a great job of bouncing out.
Well, they give it to Sheeter, and he easily takes it the 6 yards necessary for the touchdown. They actually had Sheeter right there kind of as the up back, lined up just right in that 4 hole, and he was able to take it straight through easily for the score.
Just Jasper, pick up your work pail, go to work type team. You know, this team reminds me so much of the teams of old. You know, we talk about back in the day. They got a workman's attitude. They go out, they do what they're supposed to do, they get their job done, they get up, they come back to the huddle, they do it again. And that's why Jasper's running stats have been looking the way they have been this year.
All right, so the Wildcats are able to take advantage of great field position, but it's just run right down the field, and they actually take the lead after the extra point by Leonard. Jasper leads 7-6 with 6:35 to go here on 18 WJTS. All right, so Sam Leonard, who popped in the extra point, tees it up for the Wildcats. And again, pretty well the workmanlike effort that you expect from the Wildcats, but of course, Bosse with a big play on their first play from scrimmage went 68 yards for a touchdown. But the Cats with a 1-point lead here, and Leonard kicks it straight ahead. Fielded right there at about the 20-yard line. Cut up field, but there's a stop. I see you put the pop on there. That's number 2, Vic Peter, doing a nice job stopping that run.
Boy, I tell you what, anybody that's played this game was fortunate enough to be deep on those kickoffs, when you come up and you've got your motion going as hard as you can be going, and you get stopped immediately, you feel that for about 2 or 3 plays later. Peter's just unloaded on him.
All right, so Bosse will start from the 28-yard line this time. Give it to the left side, and the Cats do a much better job of making the stop there. Start pulling up some of the bodies. That includes number 58 for the Wildcat, Jacob Potts. But again, just really have to do everything you can to keep Jaden Thomas from getting to the outside.
Well, that was a big concern I had with the big play, and hopefully we can change the tide in this series for them. But if we pay too much attention, that quarterback, he can throw it a long way, and he's got athletes to throw it to.
He's going to roll to his right. And now he just throws it away. He does have a man out here, and no penalty flag. We heard some fans yell holding, but nothing called there. So the Cats defense so far so good on this set of downs here.
Well, when he was dropping back in pregame, it looked like every time that he was just dropping back, planting his foot, he could really send it out. And I didn't really notice him doing it in pregame, but in that particular play there where he rolled out to the right, he did not look comfortable at all.
No.
So if we can keep him on the move, maybe that'd be a key, but you got to be careful because he's very good on the bootleg.
All right, so a 3rd and long situation here, 3rd and 8. All right, so they pitch it out, and good job there by Ian Giesler making the stop. So again, they're trying to get the ball into Jaden Thomas's hands, and obviously the reason why, because he's got the ability, but the Cats doing the job defensively on this series of downs.
Yeah, great tackle there. And really, I know the running back's kind of a stout young man, but you had Bear waiting to unload on him. Day was up there waiting to unload on him. So, you know, we finished it off, but these guys are taking a pounding.
All right, so the quarterback Beam is the punter, and he punts it right out here into the track, and so we'll see where they spot this football, but it should be great field position for the Wildcats again. That's always wondered, how do those officials know exactly where it went out of bounds whenever he wasn't even on the sideline? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he just kind of takes it to the 45, so it's still great field position for Jasper.
Well, he walks up and he looks at the other official that was supposed to see the point of where it went out of bounds.
Yeah.
But that guy wasn't paying attention either. But hey, 45, we'll take it.
All right, so the quarterback, Grant Young, back out there. Similar field position to last time. Cats started at the 47, this time from the 45, and now Young's got it. And he breaks through, and he's got an opening. He's going to take it all the way. Nobody's going to catch him. And he is going to take it 55 yards for the score. So Grant Young, in his first start of the season, pays dividends early on with a big touchdown run there.
Well, when you have Wiseman sitting out here at the slot, and he took off, he did a nice job of getting the pursuit coming from the backside. The receiver on this side did a nice job of locking up his guy. Grant Young just casually kind of went through there, read his blocks, jumped off the right hip, moved to the left sideline, and made a house call.
Yeah, you actually see Winesapple over there in a walking boot. So, but again, Grant Young doing a great job finding the opening, taking advantage, and Cats now lead 14-6 here on 18 WJTS. All right, so Leonard out on the field to kick it off again, and this time kind of a drop kick there, and ball's on the ground. Oh, man, that was close. I think that was Ewing who dove in on that play, but All right, so the Wildcat defense out there.
You know, that is the question that I get asked quite a bit after people see the games. It's like, are we trying to kick off that way? I really don't think so. I think that's just the way it's going.
All right, so now it's given on a sweep
that
there.
pursuit.
And yeah, the Cats just all over it. Led right there by Schneider. Again, we've been talking so much about him as a fullback this year. We forget about that, you know, he's pretty well an all-conference linebacker as well.
I think it's the number. I'm not sure.
Uh-oh, now you're digging. You're digging deep. But yeah, they're all right, so now we got penalty flags flying all over the place.
Yeah, once those big fellas start rocking on the back of their heels, it's kind of hard to stop that momentum.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they got some really good size on their offensive line. Shields number 50, 6'3", 225. 51 is Stewart, who's 6'5", 250. Esther's number 52. We talked about him on the defensive side of the ball, but he's 235, and Lewis 54 is 250. So they got some size there.
Yeah, let's see if we stunt from the backside.
All right, so a quick hitter. They're trying to get something to the outside, but the Cats with good coverage over there. I'm trying to utilize binoculars tonight to see the numbers a little bit better, but again, Giesler in on the stop, and of course Schneider's always around the action, so Cats just all over that to knock them back for a big loss.
Well, McElroy is the other big guy that they talk about, number 7, and they're going to try to get him involved as much as he can. But as old coach Joe Roller used to say, these guys that's got so much speed, they can only go so far east and west.
All right, so a low snap there, and look at that. Foley's all over him, and he's able to disrupt that pass. Now, I think his arm was hit when he threw. So, well, they do throw the flag. Wow.
Well, they had 24 over kind of going towards the ball, but he was still a good 9 yards away.
Yeah, but Foley, you could just see, was foaming at the mouth going after the quarterback on that play.
I may not be a very fast quarterback, but if you send Foley after me, I bet you I gained some miles per hour.
All right, so they do call the intentional grounding. It's going to be from the spot of the foul going back, so I guess probably from that point, half the distance.
Well, usually when something like that happens, you got to go over and explain to your coach why, what you were doing. And I know the young man won't, but I'm sure he wants to look at his coach and say, do you know what was chasing me?
Yeah.
Did you see the size of Mr. Foley?
Right.
Who, by the way, congratulations to him, signed baseball for Indiana University.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
awesome.
I know the IU football team was looking at him too, but I know his love is baseball, and he's an outstanding baseball player, and that's going to be a big pickup for the Hoosier program. All right, so the fairly decent punt. Day decided not to go after it, so the Wildcats again with great field position. Again, they'll have it from the 43 this time, so they went 47, 45, and 43.
That's a pretty good average for starting field position.
Right. So the Wildcat rushing attack, we'll see if it continues on as Grant Young, number 7, the junior signal caller, is coming out to call the play there. And as far as the Wildcat alignment, 2 wide receivers split to our near side, and that's Albrand and Cooper Ewing.
Looks like Day in the backfield.
Yeah, and Day gets it on the right side. So again, they've had success that way, but actually smothered pretty soundly there on that run was number 50, Shields, coming up from his defensive tackle spot.
When you run into the defensive slide, usually coaches will call it, 9 times out of 10, they'll take that slide and they'll have the guy slide to the strong side, which essentially is the side that Foley lines up on. Now, we've done a good job of counters to the backside and once in a while running to the backside. So far tonight, majority of the strong side. But if you run into that slide, it's hopefully you can break it, but that's a very difficult thing to do.
All right, Schneider bruises his way Plows forward. He's going to get that first down yardage. We'll give him 7 yards on that rush and gets into Bosse territory. So the Wildcat rushing attack just pretty well with a workmanlike effort early on in this football game.
If anybody has any questions on how strong Schneider is, Ashton Stewart, 6'5", 250, senior for Bosse, had him wrapped up pretty good around the thigh pad, and Schneider ran right through there. And that is a stout young man. It doesn't look like there's much extra weight on him as far as the bad type of weight. To run through that was pretty impressive.
You know, I think conditioning is really going to be a key in this football game, as we're seeing early on, because again, they just have so many players that have to go both ways, as that pass is too low for Allbrand to handle, so it'll set up a 2nd and 10. But, you know, I'm starting to see him just kind of slowly walking back to that line of scrimmage. And, you know, our offensive line, we don't have as many players going both ways.
No, we really don't. And that's when it comes to our offense, you know, when you have Day and you run Giesler and you run Ewing and you run Schneider, all those hits that happen through the course of the night are split up between 4 guys. So towards the end of the game, they just get stronger and stronger.
All right, there's that counter play that worked so well last week, but boy, it is stuffed. And man, you want a really good defensive lineman on your side. That is Hurley Esters, number 52, again making a play.
He took the step to our guys flowing to the right side, and he did what every really good linebacker should do, and that's keep up, read your eyes. And he caught the wingback from the backside coming, stood his ground, which put 2 red shirts to our 1 white shirt blocking. Play had no chance.
All right, so the Cats in 3rd and long situation. See if they throw. They're going to do the bootleg, and he's got Foley wide open. If he can get it to him, he's going to have to stop it. He throws, and Foley makes the play, hauls it right in, and takes it in for the score. What an impressive play by Connor Foley.
That's just plain and simple.
We got a penalty flag back here, though.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Coming back. Coming back on a hold. Oh, boy, oh, boy. All right, so much for that.
Okay, let's don't pay attention to that flag. Let's just
talk
pretend.
about what a great catch.
That's just going and getting it. It's
right.
Just you have coaches that they come out with their offensive schemes and their defensive schemes, and let's do this, let's do that. Sometimes it boils down just to making a play. And when you've got athletes such as Day and Foley and Schneider and, you know, Giesler and Ewing and just so on, and Allbrand, you know, he chases everything down. Man, that was that as far as individual plays so far in this early year, that's got to rank way up there.
I mean, for the record, I mean, they take that from where the spot of the foul was, so it knocks the Wildcats all the way back to the, what's that, 37, 38-yard line. But, man, when you really add it all up, again, it's a 46-yard touchdown that's coming back, and then going back that many yards, you're talking about a 60-yard penalty when you add it all up there. All right, so the Cats try the wide out screen, and he's able to break away there, but he's got a long way to go to get that first down, and we'll see if the Cats decide to punt it here. But he was able to hit Jack Allbrand there on a little wide out screen. But the Bosse Bulldogs were able to stop the Wildcats short of the 50, actually at the 48-yard line.
When you have 3rd and forever and you're close to midfield, run the little screen. If you hit 15 yards and you get 4th down and 3, 4th down and 4, yeah, you know, 2 down territory. If not that big a deal. Let's just punt the ball and pin them in their own side of the field, but not with that one.
Oh, man. Neither team punting the ball very well. So the Wildcats, number 1, Charlie Cabrick, the punter on there, just did not get the best of that one. So they're actually still walking it up, trying to decide where the ball went out of bounds, and he stops right there at about the 44-yard line. So Bosse's got great field position, but the Wildcat defense is just going to have to continue to hold.
Unlike the first play where he took it to the house, Jasper's pursuit the last several plays on defense has been just stellar. If they keep that up tonight, we should be in fine shape.
Low snap, but they're going to throw it, and he's got a man wide open, nobody there, and he does not catch the football. He kind of short-armed it there. That was intended for number 8. Keith Hall left all alone in the middle of the football field, so missed assignments there by the Wildcats safeties.
Not only does he have speed, he's got long strides, so, you know, that just he was gone. I mean, it took his eyes off the ball and was looking at the end zone before he caught it. But because of number 28 and how much attention we're paying to him, when they did the little fake to his belly, our linebackers come shooting up. Our defensive backs came up. Now they're going to run the sweep to the outside with double pulls.
All right, so that time they sweep it to Joseph McElroy, trying to get him involved in the offense, and he's able to rush it to the 48-yard line, so a pickup of 4.
Those plays to the outside, they're designed for one reason, and that is to get athletes into open space and let them make their move. Jasper did a good job of backside pursuit, held them to about 5 yards.
So I'm noticing one thing on a 3rd and long situation. They bring Foley in to replace Wallace, but then they run the same play coming back our way this time. So nothing there for McElroy really other than a couple yards. So he gets to midfield, but it's a 4th down and 4, and we'll see if Bosse decides to go for it.
I would think with how last week went and the coach is trying to instill trust into these guys, I would have to think they're going to run into the quarter and end up talking about it and may go for it.
Right. All right. Well, when we come back, Bosse will have 4th down at midfield. Jasper 14, Bosse 6 after the first quarter here on 18 WJTS. All right, so the Wildcats defensively, actually, looks like they're going to punt the football, so Day's going to drop back there.
Keep your eyes open. Keep your eyes open.
Oh,
good.
Bain with another awful punt. Both teams having a tough time punting the football.
Boy, I tell you what, if you could only score by the kicking game, other than extra points, Leonard's been doing pretty decent.
Yeah.
But our kickoffs have been horrible. Our punts are horrible. Coach has got to be over here scratching his head, because when you get deep into the season, like next week, Mater Day, you got Castle coming up.
Right.
If you want to do anything in the tournament, field position becomes huge.
Big time. Absolutely. All right, so here come the Wildcat offense back out there. Gives to Schneider on the right side. And he just, Larry Zonkas his way across the 40-yard line to about the 42. So that's going to be a 10-yard run and a pickup of a 1st down.
We were talking about their running back, number 28, and, you know, he could get his yards, but he's going to take all the hits himself. But Schneider right there, he's pounding these guys on both sides of the ball and just gets stronger and stronger. That right there looked painful.
All right, this time on the left side, and good run there to midfield, gets across the 50 to the 49-yard line, so now in Bosse territory. But, you know, again, just the impressive thing, obviously, with the rushing attack is how solid your offensive line is. And, you know, Jackson Bauer, the center, Gus Heichelbeck, and Jacob Potts, Mateo Hernandez, Michael Beekler, they're just really doing the job.
Yeah, when they make their initial contact, if they feel that the defensive lineman's not pressuring, they'll slide off and get the linebackers.
All right, so it's Day's turn. No, actually, they're going to run the option here. Grant keeps it.
That's a good keep.
And he's able to maybe gain a yard, so he's not quite there.
When Young came around, and I believe that was Cooper Ewing he had coming out here for the pitch. Cooper had to kind of take a half step slower because he was getting, you know, over here to the sidelines. He had absolutely no angle, so even though he got a short gain, at least he kept the ball, and Jasper fights another day.
All right, so a 3rd and about a yard. Just give it to Day. He's got it, plenty. And he gets across the 40 down to about the 38. So a nice pickup of 10 on that play.
One thing I really like about Schneider and Day, when they come through that line, there are certain times, if you watch their runs, they're looking for guys to hit. A guy back in our day, Mark 10, oh, my Lord, he used to come through and just look for people to hurt.
Right.
And when you got Schneider and Day running, now you got Day out, you got Schneider back in. Good Lord, that is a nice combo.
All right, so Schneider gets it on the right side. Again, continues on. absorbing every bit of contact that comes his way, and he gets it all the way down to the 25-yard line. So 13 yards on that run.
Well, you've got Parker, number 24, and you also got Thomas playing some defense. The last 2 times that Schneider came through, they didn't do it on Day because they didn't give him an opportunity. They tried to get up, and I guess, I don't know if they don't think they can tackle him or what, but they're trying to strip the ball. And if you can't get the ball away from Schneider, I mean, he's just going to carry you.
Well, I think the main thing you got to do is you got to stop him.
Absolutely.
Know? Don't worry about stripping that football, but here comes the counter play. And that looks like it could have broken open, but just saving the tackle right there. Number 1 doing a nice job for the Bulldogs. That's Royal Elliott, 5'8", 130-pound sophomore.
Doing a nice job of coming through the line, reading where the defensive lineman's coming from. If our guy slides off and goes and gets the linebacker and that hole opens up and he sees the defensive lineman deep and he cuts it up, he turns his hips so nice to the side and then he squares up again. So they're doing a good job of getting and going.
All right, so he does get that pitch out there, kind of a risky throw, but he gets it over to Ewing, and Ewing gets knocked out of bounds, maybe lost a couple yards there. But, that's the other thing, too. When you're operating that option pitch, you kind of have an expectation of what your quarterback can do, and he's worked with Winesapple for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's just something as far as timing and when it's going to happen that Ewing's going to have to adjust to tonight working with a different quarterback.
We've seen it with Winesapple in the Memorial game that he was a little iffy with it. In fact, put the ball down on the carpet twice. But through Harrison and Wrights, it got better and better and better. It does not look like Young is comfortable at all with that.
All right, there goes Schneider. And Schneider gets it inside the 10, down to about the 7-yard line. I think this is where they're going to spot that football. So the Cats just needed a few. And
inside the 10 to about the 6-yard line.
Actually, we'll call it a 10-yard run to the 6.
These guys are such good young men all the way through there. They really, everybody likes to score a touchdown, like to hear your name either, on TV or in the paper. But the only thing these guys really care about is that the black and gold gets points up on the board. And
right.
That's admirable.
All right, so Schneider gets the opportunity. He fouls his blockers there, and he is in for the 6-yard touchdown run.
Just power. Plain and simple, just power. Offensive line, either no Bosse stout up there. They get into them. They get low. They get their base underneath them. They chop their feet. They're taking these linemen and moving them backwards. Schneider and Day, the last couple of times, have not really been solidly hit till they've gotten 4 yards down the field. Offensive line is dominating right now.
Absolutely. All right, so Leonard out there for the extra point. Second touchdown for Schneider. Both of them are 6-yard runs. Cats with a 20-6 lead, looking to make it 21. And he pops it right through. So Sam Leonard does his job. The Wildcat offensive line and the rushing attack continues on. 21-6 over the Bosse Bulldogs here on 18 WJTS. All right, we'll see what the Wildcats do as far as kicking off here. Leonard's been kicking pretty well straight on. I think they're just trying to prevent the big play. Same thing. And if they let it roll, it could go out of, oh, he touched it, and he goes out of bounds. Oh, my goodness, that's a big break for the Jasper Wildcats because that ball was headed out of bounds on its own. And number 5, Elijah Wagner, grabs it, steps out of bounds, and so that's where the Bulldogs will start. First and 10 at, what, the 7-yard line.
Yeah, when Wagner decided that, hey, let's just let this get out of bounds, the ball, as the football does, we all know it's not, round like a basketball, hit its end and popped up, and, he did the only thing he could do, just catch it, run out of bounds. But once you see it going that way, if it's going by the inside the 10-yard line, it doesn't really matter where it stops. Just get away, and hopefully it'll go out of bounds, and you'll come up to the 40.
Actually, it's rest right there at the 8-yard line. 7:39 to go here in the first half. Jasper with a 21-6 lead. And Bosse trying to get things going with their rushing attack. So they give it to their main man, number 28, Jaden Thomas. He gets some positive yardage, gain of about 4 on that run.
The one thing that I've noticed, the big difference between the Jasper running backs and Thomas for Bosse, Jasper's getting 3-4 yards before they're getting any serious contact. That was a heck of a 4-yard run because he was getting hit from all kinds of sides, and he just kept driving. Towards the end of the game, he will not have that energy.
All right, so Boehm, the quarterback. They try a sweep to the left side, and all over it. That's Schneider just plowing in there and stopping that play right away in the backfield.
Schneider, we see what he does with the football. We see his breakaway speed. But when he comes crashing through that line, the one thing that makes him really effective is he's decisive in his move. Right or wrong, he's decisive. And Schneider's been around the block a few times to come through, and very seldom are you going to see him, guess wrong. But when he comes through, he's got conviction.
All right, so the Cats have Foley now at a defensive end spot. Put pressure on the quarterback, and just like that, the Cats get into the backfield and make the stop. And is this a safety or not?
Doesn't look like it. About at the foot-yard line, our foot-yard.
So an outstanding play there by Jacob Potts, number 58. Drops him for a big loss all the way down to the 1-yard line. So that's a loss of 7.
Jasper's getting through, and they're just turning on the Jets. If Bosse lets us come through like that, it's going to be a long night for everyone.
All right, so here's a punt. We'll see if Day decides to field this. He does right there at the 41. Makes a cut. He's got an opening if he can get some blocks out there.
Day's got speed.
Oh, there's a good block there, and he's able to take it in. Oh, doesn't get in the end zone, but Michael Beekler had a nice block, I saw. So Day decides on that punt that he had an opportunity to field it and takes it right from the 41. And Cats will have first and goal. We'll see where they spot the football. It looks like it's inside the 5 at about the 3.
Coaches used to tell us that when you come through, if you've got designated people you're supposed to block, if they're not there, just grab somebody. Well, Beekler found somebody. And Day said, thank you very much. And around the side he went, and I can't imagine the result's going to be anything different than Day or Schneider running into the end zone. Looks like we got Day in the backfield.
So Day, he deserves the touchdown, and he gets it. He returned that punt 38 yards to set the Wildcats up for this 4th score of the ball game, and he takes it to 3 yards and makes it a 27-6 game.
He gobbled up that 3 yards. It's a snap of a finger. Cross that line. And when he finally, touchdown, referee signal, that's when he got his first little bump. Offensive line is just really tearing these guys up.
All right, so Leonard getting his workout tonight. Joey McGimsey, number 6 to hold. Perfect snap, perfect hold, perfect kick. Jasper 28, Bosse 6, 5:24 to go here in the half on 18 WJTS. 5:24 to go here in the first half, 28-6 Jasper. So Day with 2 touches on that last possession, 1 on a punt return going 38 yards and finishes it off with a 3-yard run. And again, just a low kick. That again, Bosse just dives on this time. Royal Elliott, number 1, fields it. So the Wildcat defense coming back out there.
I'm surprised he jumped on that. I mean, closest white shirt was 15 yards away, but he did secure it. But that's got to be the game plan. Just don't give up the big play and bring our defense out. They've been dominating. I mean, it's logical.
So for the Wildcats, number 51, Cole Trevino, sophomore out there playing in that middle plug position right now. Beekler to his right. And just nothing there for the Bulldogs. Charlie Cabrick in on the stop.
The only thing that's going to fall into Jasper's defense that they've got to stay disciplined. And you and I both know when it comes to youngsters and the game becomes so easy, you just look up at the score. Bosse's up 6-0, snap of a finger. Jasper's up 28-6. You can't fall asleep. Bosse's got too much speed. If we pursue too hard and our pursuit's not on the backside, it's to the house.
There's a penalty flag thrown there. And that's going to go against Bosse, so that's going to push him back. Actually, the Wildcat defensive line, I'm just going to try to point out some players out here. And Potts, of course, number 58. And also Wallace right there. And then you got the backs. You got Wiseman, Schneider, number 22. That is Cale Schmidt.
It looks like Coach is going to keep his linebacker core pretty well the same and interchange the other ones.
Low snap, and the quarterback just dives on it. So just Bosse continues going backwards. So again, they open this football game with a huge touchdown run, 68 yards by number 28, Jaden Thomas. But since then, Bob, it's just backwards for him.
When you look out and you see the snap and it goes down, he falls on it, and people are like, oh, you know, they're really messing up. People, I'm here to tell you, a lot of that has to do with the black and gold coming in here and making the guys in red black and blue. You get hit the way we have been hitting these guys, you're trying to catch a ball and also see where the white shirt's coming from. A lot of times that would be the result of the play.
Yeah, so 3rd and 27, and what was that, a backwards pass? Actually, the Cats jump on it, but no, they're saying it was an incomplete pass. So
well, we got our mid on it. It looked like Foley. And I'm saying it looked like Foley not because I could see the numbers, just he kind of stands above everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So again, the Bulldogs, just nothing there, and the Wildcat defense just doing what they want to do ever since that initial run of the football game.
We got Foley on the inside, see if we bring pressure.
All right, so Day's going to let this drop, actually kick it right out of bounds. And now the official's going to walk up, and we'll see where he stops. Looked like it was actually caught over there at about the 28-yard line, and I think that's about where they're going to put it. So again, just a great opportunity for the Cats to just continue to just blow this game wide open. I mean, 28-6, 3:43 to go. Just the way things are going, you would expect them to be able to score another touchdown here before the first half.
With the way you're going to see a lot of points, well, goodness gracious, we got 3:45 left and we got 28 points already. But you're going to see a lot of points by Jasper, but the stats are going to look really small because our starting field position has been so great.
Young's looking to throw. Now he chucks it out there, and Foley tries to make the same over the defender catch. Kind of say over the shoulder or whatever, but he's jumping over defenders trying to haul that in. Kind of looking like Gronk out there tonight.
Yeah, he's. I've actually described him as Gronk in high school. That's how I imagine that he would be. He's just a man. But Young's just got to throw the ball. Just let Foley go make a play. I know there was a penalty on the one where he took it to the house, but it's there. You got to get it up in the air and let him go get it.
Right. All right, so just give it straight up the middle and an easy run for the Wildcats there. That's Schneider again. I'll tell you, the last time on the Wildcats scoring drive, Schneider just dominated with 3 10-yard runs and finished with a 6-yard touchdown. And gives the Wildcats a first down there and picks up about 13 on that last run. So we got a timeout on the field. 3:25 to go here in the first half. Jasper 28-6. When we come back, they're looking to put more points on the board here on 18 WJTS. Back once again here at Enlow Field. The Wildcats with the 28-6 lead. 3:25 to go here in the first half. Football rest at the 17-yard line. Quarterback keeps this time. Pitches at the last minute. Yeah, that's probably just one you want to hang on to there, Grant. But he's able to get inside the 10. So they're going to spot that at the 9. So a pickup of 8 on the play.
Well, you're right, Craig. He should have held on to that, not only because he had contact when he was trying to pitch it, but the distance between the tailback coming out and him was 2.5 yards. And you flip it out, you got speed on it. It's in the guy's face mask before he can blink his eye. Just keep it and fight another day.
All right, so Day gets it this time. He lowers his head. Is he getting in the end zone? Nope, he's going to be just shy. But it's going to be a first down, so first and goal for the Wildcats.
Well, Wagner did a good job for Bosse to come up there, number 5, and get into Day's legs. And Day has been doing what he's been doing all year. The contact came about, the 5-yard line, but he got himself another 3 just by lunging forward.
All right, so they give it to Day and easily prances into the end zone for another Wildcats score. So Day scores the last 2. This one from 1 yard out, 34-6 with 2:49 to go.
Craig, I got to argue with you.
What's the argument?
I don't think that we could put 60 up there. I'm looking more.
I mean, it's just one of those situations where it's like, I think we're just looking at a football team that's just given up on the other side. I mean, the Wildcats have excellent execution, of course, with their offensive line, and just their rushing attack's been dominant, especially over the last couple weeks. Last week against Wrights.
They're just, I mean, it's so simple. Control the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And when you see Jasper's offensive line, whether it be Heidelberg or whoever, I mean, they're not small guys, but they're not overwhelming. But their technique is so pinpoint that these running backs, I know that they're getting interviewed. Yeah, I know they're getting patted on the back. But they ought to be buying them Dairy Queen or something, because when you get 6-7 yards down the field without being touched, that's your offensive lineman, son.
Oh, it absolutely is. Absolutely is. And, I mean, the holes are just wide open that everybody's running through. And, just right there, you had Schneider with a 13-yard run. Quarterback Grant Young, 8 yards, although he pitched it probably for about the last 1 yard there. But then Day with an easy 8-yard run and finishes it off untouched, going in for the 1-yard score. So, again, last week the Wildcats 373 rushing yards, and it was just spread out among 5 different players. So tonight, a lot of the same thing. All right, so there's an opening to the sideline. If he can stay there, it's going to take the kicker to knock him out of bounds. But, again, that's what you're kind of wanting to prevent whenever you just kind of kick it straight ahead. But Elijah Wagner took advantage of the opening to the outside and gives Bosse great field position at the 50-yard line.
When he initially got it and was coming up, it was taken away. But he did a great job of dipping to the inside, and our pursuit did not stay disciplined and kind of went in. And, thank the Lord that Leonard was sitting there, because that was another big play ready to go to the house.
All right, so we'll see if the Bulldogs are able to do something with this good field position. And just like that, we got a penalty flag.
That looked like the center moved the ball.
And so the center, number 66, Alexander Matty, was just kind of walking away there with his head down. So I think you're obviously right there, Bob.
When they come up and they move the ball and they get their grip on there, I mean, it's going to be a few inches one way or the other, but when you take the ball and you move it to where you're going to get an advantage, that's usually, especially in a blowout game, where the referees will throw the yellow flag.
All right, so 1st and 15. And just like that, getting to the backfield quickly is the Wildcats. Wallace in on the play. So again, just pretty well holding in check Jaden Thomas. We talked about him rushing for over 400 yards in their first 2 wins this year against Vincennes and also against the Evansville Central Bears, who actually surprisingly are 0-3 coming into tonight's action.
Yeah, the SIAC is a crazy thing. You look at these teams. When Jasper came in the SIAC, let's be honest, there was a lot of people saying, with the history that we've had with Wrights, it was, we can't compete. Jasper's not only competing, especially this year, they're just dominating.
Right. All right, so the Bulldogs want to talk about it. 1:51 to go here in the first half. Jasper 35, Bosse 6 on 18 WJTS. Wallace, Beekler, that front line for the Wildcats. Wallace getting in on a fun last play with a 5-yard tackle for loss.
Well, the Bosse offensive linemen are standing up. They're not really firing. We're going to see how it goes this time.
All right, so he brings his tailback Thomas into the backfield. Now he's trying to sweep outside, and it's just not there. So again, Potts, I think, made the stop this time. You know, and he's coming from a nose guard spot, and he's able to stop that sweep on the outside. That's pretty impressive.
But when we're firing, this is like complete opposite of what should be happening. The offensive linemen should be firing in. It's actually the defense for Jasper that's firing into their offensive line.
Right.
And when they get through, they're looking up, they're finding the ball, and they just plant that foot and they attack and attack. Once they know that counter is not coming backwards or back towards them, they just put it in high gear.
Right.
And when our pursuit on the top side where the linebackers are get out, and the running back's got to plant his foot and decide what he's going to do, you know, Potts, Wallace, they're just coming through and crushing them. But they're actually taking the initial hit to the offensive line, and your offense is never going to work when that happens.
Yeah, I tell you what, one guy who's probably bored tonight is Braylon Bear. 2 pick sixes last week, and he's just not seeing enough action as far as the ball going up in the air.
Now, anytime they've wanted to do it, we've been in the quarterback's face. Several snaps have been at his ankles, but when he tries to set, we are on him.
All right, so the Bulldogs on 3rd and forever, but they're able to complete it outside, but he steps right out of bounds, so pass was thrown right there to Amari Hope.
They marked it incomplete. I guess he had a foot
Oh,
on
he
the
must have a
sideline.
foot out of.
Baby's pass intended for Hope.
Defensive backs did a nice job of spreading the field. What their coaching staff has done to the last 2 plays, pass plays, instead of sending McElroy deep, they're trying these little flare-outs. Quarterback catches the ball 1 step, get the ball out. But Jasper's speed is it's unmatched right now.
All right, so another punt. And that is returnable right there at the 31-yard line. Day makes the move, now sees the outside opening. It's being chased down. And nice job. I'll tell you what quickness we saw by Hurley Esters, number 52. He's a determined football player out there for Bosse. He's been making some plays.
Jasper's been double-teaming him quite a bit tonight. He's caused a little bit of havoc, especially early in the game on the inside. But when you go both ways and you've got to run a sprint 25 yards and come over and chase down Day, which is not an easy thing to do, you're going to get a little bit winded. And right now he's out there walking a little bit slower than he did at the beginning. Jasper's got 1:23 to tack up another 7.
So Day having a time with punt returns. He had a 38-yard one, now a 21-yard punt return. So the Cats with 123, see if they try to work on a hurry-up offense. So Grant Young's going to throw, and he just throws it way too short. Yeah, he had Allbrand wide open in that seam right up the middle of the field. And if he hits him in stride, that's another 6 on the board. But, Young just a little bit short on that pass.
Well, passing in practice is one thing. When you get into the game, even though the game is lopsided right now, the speed of it, he's got to get some air underneath that ball, and he's just not gripping the ball evidently right now.
Right. All right, so stops the clock at 1:19. 2nd and 10 from the 48. Cats already in Bosse territory here. Young here throws a bullet, and they're going to call pass interference, it looks like. Number 2 must have been climbing the back there on Allbrand. So Debron Bush is going to be whistled for the violation here.
I know he didn't agree with the call, but there was no hesitation.
2 flags too,
yeah.
saw it. Yeah, because he said he had his arm wrapped around him is what the official was motioning to the player. So that's going to give the Wildcats a 15-yard penalty. We'll move it from the 48 to the 32. So 1st and 10 for the Cats here.
It appears to me that when Young is releasing the ball, he's releasing it too far in front of his shoulders, and that's why the front of the nose is in a downward spiral.
All right, so Day on the right side. Stopped there by number 24. Parker, 6'2", 150-pound senior. And now the Wildcats are going to call a timeout. All right, so we'll take a break here. 1:04 to go. 35 Jasper. Bosse has 6 on 18 WJTS. All right, so the Wildcats dominating here in the first half, and an opportunity here with 1:04. to add a little bit more. Looks like you're trying to work on the passing game on this drive. Actually, Young is going to throw back to Foley. Makes a little spin move. That was that block air put by Potts. Same play we saw with Michael Beekler a couple weeks ago, and Foley's able to just power his way inside the 5.
Now, Young did a better job of planting his foot and releasing the ball a little bit at a higher point, but Foley still had to go underneath his hips. Of course, you know, Foley's 6'5", and Grant Young's not, but he still had to go down and get it. Going down the sidelines, even when our offensive linemen were out of the play, they were still engaged with red shirts. It's impressive.
All right, so what do? You just give it to Schneider, and he gets the final 3 yards to put another score on the board for the Wildcats. Again, set up, first of all, by a 21-yard punt return by Isaac Day. Then a little connection there to Foley with a nice block by Potts. Gets the Wildcats inside the 5, and then bring in Schneider to finish off the final 3 yards.
That's one thing I really do enjoy about Schneider and Day. I know they're seniors, they're most experienced on this team. But when something like that happens, they're not just sitting there celebrating themselves. They're going up and, you know, taking these offensive linemen, patting them on the head. You know, appreciate it, brother.
Right. So Leonard, perfect right through. So he's hit every one. Jasper 42, Bosse 6 with 31 seconds to go here in the first half. You're on 18 WJTS. All right, so Leonard getting his workout, kicking the football. Extra points, kickoffs. 31 seconds to go, 42 Jasper, Bosse 6. And straight away, fielded and taken down right there by number 14 for the Bulldogs. That is Aiden Jackson, sophomore on this football team.
Well, Jackson definitely didn't want to go down. Did a nice job of kind of reaching out and getting his ball out of kilter, or his body out of kilter when he grabbed the ball and brought it into his body, but he just couldn't keep his feet. And in high school, knee touches the ground, plays dead.
All right, so the Bulldogs now basically going to be facing a running clock as the Wildcats are up by 36, but I'm sure this will be the final play of the first half. And just like that, quickly in the backfield. Cats just dominating the line of scrimmage. And this time again, it's Potts getting back here, number 58. And that's going to run it out here. So we're coming up on halftime. Jasper with just a pretty well dominating performance after giving up a long touchdown run to the Bulldogs to start this football game. But since then have rolled off 42 unanswered points. So what are your thoughts there, Bob?
Words pop into my head. Domination.
Right.
Consistency is a really good one. But we talk about the battle in the trenches before every game. You know, that's where it's going to be. There is no trenches here. As soon as he had caught the ball, I mean, 2 or 3 times in the last couple of possessions they've had, they've tried that pitch. He's caught the ball. Before he's had it sucked into his body, our defensive line is shot in so hard. And with no resistance, they were wrapping him up before he knew what was going on.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just literally Jasper's come down, even though they're up 40-6. They show signs of a well-oiled machine, a well-coached team. You've got such a big lead. Like you said, 42 unanswered points. But they're all staying disciplined. They're not getting too carried away. It's the workmanlike attitude, you know. We got another half. Let's come out. Let's do what we're supposed to do. I know we'll get some clean shirts in here. Probably see a few more mistakes in the second half because these youngsters are not used to the speed at varsity level.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just these seniors have got these guys playing with a mentality that can take them a long way.
I agree. So they're dominating tonight, but the other thing, too, is that you want to make sure you stay sharp because you got just a huge game next week against Mater Dei.
Well, this was one that and talking to several of the Jasper fans throughout the week, the one big concern about the Bosse game We just came off a big win against Wrights, like we talked about. One of the 4 unbeaten teams last week. Bosse and them went down, so there's 2 left. Everybody kind of thought that it was going to be Jasper and Mater Dei next week, both be undefeated. This is what you call your classic trap game.
Right.
But Jasper comes in, seniors are showing leadership, not letting that happen, just taking care of business. We'll worry about play by play and let the game take care of itself, let the season take care of itself.
All right, well, the scoreboard shows it. Wildcats are taking care of business, 42-6 over Bosse here at halftime on 18 WJTS. All right, we're at halftime. The Jasper Wildcats dominating the Bosse Bulldogs 42-6, and we'll just kind of see what it looks like number-wise. First, obviously, the rushing attack for the Wildcats. 31 rushes, 223 yards. Passing numbers, 2 of 6 passing for 38 yards, and just pretty well knocking the Bulldogs back. They have -3 yards passing and 44 yards rushing, but obviously most of that coming on the initial touchdown run by Jaden Thomas, who went 68 yards on the first play from scrimmage for the Bulldogs, giving them an early 6-0 lead. But since then, Cats have dominated with Schneider, Day, and also Grant Young getting his first start of the season. 4 carries for 66 yards for him, including a big long touchdown run of 55 yards. And 2 receptions for the Wildcats, one by Foley and one by Jack Albrand. Foley went for 28 yards and set up that score by Schneider. And so it's just pretty well been domination, Bob.
Yeah, and when you look at this dominating game, what sticks out to me is Jasper's discipline. Not overrunning the play. Regardless of what Bosse's attitude is with certain players, there's still a few of them out there that are fighting hard, and one of them is number 28. You know, Thomas has been running hard. Unfortunately for him, we are firing off the ball so well tonight. We are getting 3-4 yards in the backfield. The linemen for Bosse are just seeing our shoes. That's how fast our guys are attacking. Now, when I was looking at the Jasper defense, one thing that we've always been doing this year, the way it appears to me, is we're stunting our backside linebackers. It's gotten to the point right now to where they're coming up, but our defensive linemen, regardless of whether it's the starters, new bodies getting in, they were seeing the ball move. They are firing off so fast. Jasper essentially has stopped their stunts. You know, when our guys miss, Schneider in the linebacker position is doing a good job of reacting quickly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I don't want to say that the coaches have called off the Dogs, but they have really, our defensive line, our offensive line has just gotten to the point to where they've obliterated Bosse and any hope that they've had to even be in this game.
Right. Well, we'll see a running clock here for the second half, but you know, it's a career game offensively and defensively for Schneider. I mean, my goodness, he's got on the defensive side, 1.5 tackles for loss, but on the offensive side, 13 carries for 95 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he's just really just doing it all over the football field tonight.
If their specialty teams, speaking of their punting and their kicking teams, had any distance at all on these balls, where Jasper's starting position would be maybe on their 20 or 25, it's conceivable that Jasper could have 600-700 yards of offense.
Oh, yeah.
Just the way they're dominating.
All right, so a straightaway kick for the Wildcats, fielded at the 30-yard line. And trying to see who actually returned that. I think that was 81 who returned that for the Wildcats, and that is Davis Rose. So he gets it to the 46-yard line. So the Cats with great field position, but we are going with our second team, it looks like, so we'll have to point out the numbers as we go along here. So at the quarterback position, that is number 8, Carter Holsworth, getting the opportunity here to start this second half. And tough time handling that, but boy, he just got manhandled then by number 52 coming up again. That's Hurley Esters. We took him down hard to the turf there.
Coaches are not trying to embarrass anybody. And so they're going out and they're getting these new guys, they're getting them some snaps and all that. But look at the difference in size of Bosse. If Jasper gets their feet back underneath them, even with the new characters in there, and we start running it down the field, boy, oh boy, oh boy, does that say a lot of bad things about the team in red.
All right, so Bosse keeping their first team out there. The Wildcats with their second team. So number 25 gets the carry there, and that's Landon Fleck, 5'6", 140-pound sophomore. But kind of going back to the Wildcat starters, you know, we talked about the offensive line. One player there, Jacob Potts, who, you know, dominates on the offensive line. But, boy, he had 3.5 tackles for loss as well, including a big sack. So he's having a great night overall, too.
Well, he had a chance to really get in the stat books, you know, getting those tackles. And it's good to see a young man take advantage of it.
All right, so the Wildcats are able to get a little positive run there. Also getting the carry again was Landon Fleck there. Gets it just shy of midfield to the 49-yard line, so the Cats are going to have to punt from here.
Offensive line did a nice job of Coach Lewis, instead of coming straight up the gut against the monsters of Bosse, tried to get him to the outside. Even though we're kind of undersized, the speed our offensive linemen got out, hooked their guys. We got a nice little gain out of that.
So Cole Trevino, number 51, and doesn't get an opportunity to punt there.
Which is probably a good thing because McElroy was just kind of waiting.
All right, so that's going to go against the Wildcats. So the Wildcat reserves having a tough start here to the second half. Clock continues to run with 9:05, 9:04. Running clock here in the second half. Jasper up 42-6.
Well, even with a big score like this, you normally see the starters come out for the first drive. But Coach is having none of it, and let's just go out and nice punt.
He got close. But he was, oh man, what a tremendous punt. But it does take a Bosse bounce, but regardless, just getting that punt off was big.
He caught the ball, dropped it right down on his foot and got out. He's seen a lot of red waves coming towards him.
Oh, yeah. All right, so ball was fielded and actually will set up at the 25-yard line there of the Bulldogs. So clock continues to run, 8:16.
Well, I see number 15, Craven, has come in. He's doing one of the on the outsides, watching these receivers. He better watch out because these guys can go in a hurry.
All right, quick pitch and catch there to the sideline. Brought in by number 4, Amari Hope. So again, taking a look as far as the Bosse players there. It looks like their complete starting lineup is still on the football field, including number 28, Jaden Thomas. So,
well, Khalil Lewis did a nice job of getting out and leading that. He got up into Craven's body and drove him backwards. They got a nice little 8-yard gain out of that, but if it was not for a pursuit from the inside, he could have still be running.
All right, so they're going to try to sweep Thomas to the outside, and he's able to cut it upfield there before being brought down there by, trying to check the number. It looks like that is 25 for the Wildcats, and we saw him on the offensive side. Landon Fleck making a tackle on the defensive side.
Well, we're doing a good job of getting into the bodies of the offensive linemen as they're starting to fire out. We're not getting as deep penetration as we did at the end of the first half, but we are making contact with the guy. These young guys for Jasper's just got to know you got to wrap up a running back like this.
All right, so the quarterback rolls to his right, pulls up, throws a pass out there complete. So he's able to hook up with number 8, Keith Hall, and so the Bulldogs looking to get a scoring drive here. Again, the clock continues to run with 6:24, 6:23 on the running clock here. Jasper up 42-6, so Bosse just trying to save face a little bit here and just make that score not look so lopsided.
Well, we'll see how our down 3 fire into these guys, see if we can shed them out and start getting a little tackles for losses.
All right. Oh, the quarterback actually loses the ball, and it's picked off. And racing all the way for the touchdown. Number 8, Carter Holsworth. The ball slipped out of the hands of the quarterback. Holsworth was right there coming after the quarterback, falls right into his hands, and he takes it all the way for the score.
Indicative of how things have been going for Bosse the last 2 games, getting crushed by Castle and, of course, Jasper doing what they're doing. But it's all about, you know, oh, he got lucky, the ball came out. No. You got to be in the right place at the right time. You have to make your own destiny. He was there. The ball came. He looked it in. He did everything he was supposed to do and took it to the house. He did not hesitate. He did not turn around to see who was chasing him. He just turned on the jets and punched it in.
So Holsworth, the quarterback, is going to set up the second team here for the Wildcats on a 2-point conversion. And they give it to the right side, and he's not able to quite get the necessary yardage, or did he get in? Nope, they're going to say the run failed there, so Landon Fleck tried to power his way in there. But regardless, the interception, oh, actually we got a penalty flag here.
It's holding against Jasper. You've seen a couple of arms come up there and stretch some red jerseys.
All right, well, everybody's coming off the field here. But Jasper with the interception and the touchdown run, 48-6 over Bosse here on 18 WJTS. All right, we're actually back here for the extra point. They actually called this a face mask against Bosse, so Jasper's going to get another opportunity for the 2-point conversion here. We thought it was going to be a hold there.
Well, he gave the hold sign, and he pointed on the Jasper side of
Did
the
he?
field.
Okay. All right, so Holsworth, who scored the touchdown on the interception run, takes the snap, hands off to the right side, and untouched going in, Landon Fleck for the 2-point conversion. So Jasper puts a 50 spot on the board, 50-6 over the Bosse Bulldogs with 4:38 to go, 4:39 to go here in the third quarter on 18 WJTS. Bosse Bulldogs on their first possession of the second half left their starters out there, and it looked like they were going to be able to march down the field against the Wildcat reserves, but a big play there by number 8, Carter Holsworth, to pick it off and take it all the way for a touchdown. Makes it 50-6 over the Bulldogs right now. And after this kickoff, we'll get that running clock going again. All right, so the boot right there is going to be fielded. Actually loses the handle of the football, and so the Cats are able to converge. But now he gets away, and Cats going to have to make a play here. And number 5 is going to take it all the way to the outside, and he's going to score on a kickoff return here that looked like it was going to be stopped right there at about the 20-yard line. So he takes it about 80 yards as Elijah Wagner. And, wow, the Wildcat fans over here, I think, saw some illegal blocks that they were complaining about, but no call, and Bulldogs are on the board.
How many times have we discussed big plays happening out of broken plays?
Right.
And he just, once he got through, now they were stretching a few jerseys out there, but in a game like this, running clock, you know, referees are human too, and we'll just let this one go. It's not going to be an effect of the game.
All right, so the Bulldogs will go for 2 here. And they're actually one player short there is what Bain was calling for from the sideline. So now we got another player coming out. So why is the play clock not running? It's still stuck at 25. I mean, this should be a delay of game, and actually it was the tailback Jaden Thomas who wasn't out there on the field. Especially if the play is designed for him, you would want him on the field there.
You would think.
All right, but actually they pitch it out, and that's going to be an easy walk into the end zone for number 7, McElroy, Joseph McElroy. So Bosse returns the kickoff, 75 yards for a touchdown, 2-point conversion, 50 for Jasper, 14 for the Bulldogs with 3:01 to go here in the third on 18 WJTS. All right, so the Bulldogs kicking off to the Wildcats, 3:01 here. We'll have the running clock going right after this play. Bulldogs scoring a kickoff return. A little pooch kick right there is fielded and brought down quickly there at about the 43-yard line. So that return was made by number 11, Tyler Atkins, 6 foot, 162-pound sophomore.
When contact was coming up on him, he did a nice job of getting a few extra yards. But I'm sure coaches were telling these guys, and Atkins followed it to a T, when contact is coming, protect the ball. I mean, he had it wrapped up, both arms. It was going nowhere. So it's the fundamentals that he's really wanting to coach. And now they got another guy missing.
So 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. This time they run a counter play to the outside. Turns upfield and penalty flags fly. That was number 11, Tyler Atkins, again getting a touch on that play.
That flag usually comes in to where there's holding coming out from the outside.
Well, the only good thing about a penalty in a situation like this, because it's like a complete blowout game and you don't want to get too nitpicky on the penalties, but hey, it keeps the clock running, and you know we probably have to run one more play because we got 1:43 on the clock and get right to the end of the 3rd quarter. All right, so the holding penalty on the Wildcat pushes them way back to the 32-yard line.
Well, it's pretty gosh darn good if these guys coming in here, the way they're flowing, it's just the speed of the varsity as compared to even JV.
Right.
I mean, it is night and day difference.
Oh, no question.
And unless you're out there underneath those helmets, you really, sitting up here and watching it, unless you've been through it, you really don't know.
Well, it's just, I mean, obviously look at the size difference out there right now. Well, there's a nice run there by the Wildcats. And that's looks like the quarterback kept the ball there, Holsworth.
But a nice job of our offensive linemen. Yeah, I know they're outweighed, but I mean they're firing off the ball just the way they should. And once they get some more, you know, in the weight room a little bit, go through more of the training, they'll be just fine the way they're firing off. They're doing their fundamentals correctly.
So 15-yard run by the young quarterback, number 8, Holsworth. Sets up a more manageable 2nd down and 7. There's a sweep to the outside. Good stiff arm there, and it's able to turn the corner.
Oh, you got to call
They
the
did not
face
call
mask.
anything there as Jaden Thomas made the stop, but nice run there for the Wildcats by Reese Egbert, another sophomore on the field.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. That was not only I don't get too upset if there's a construed a face mask when you hit it and your hand slides off, but he turned his head on that one, and the referee just would not throw that flag.
Right. All right, so the Wildcats, when we come back, it's the end of the 3rd quarter with the running clock. 50-14 is our score to be 3rd and 1 when we return here on 18 WJTS. All right, we're back once again here to start the 4th quarter. Ball rests at the 47-yard line, 3rd and 1 for the Cats. I'd really like us to see to get this 1st down, just because, again, they still pretty well have their starters, and good job by Holsworth there just to rush it straight forward. Gets across the 45 to the 44-yard line. So the Wildcats doing a good job on this drive, moving the sticks.
They've done not only running the ball, but making the correct reads, seeing the guy coming up, bouncing out. Jasper's done a lot better tonight when they have went north and south. Trying to go east and west against a team with this speed is kind of difficult, but first time Jasper's run the quarterback sneak, you know, quarterback goes up there, taps the center on one side or the other to let him know which way he's going. Easy pickup.
Well, the Cats face a 1st and 20+ there as Holsworth's able to get to the outside. So he gets a nice run, and I think the ball might have hit the turf briefly there, but Cats were able to hang on to it. But Holsworth gets it down to the 41-yard line.
Now, when you put the ball down on the carpet, you will hear a coach really get after you because you're not protecting the ball. However, the little thing to that saying is if you're trying to give 2nd and 3rd effort and fight, you know, coaches are a little bit more forgiving. And that's exactly what happened on that one.
Man in motion. Holsworth's going to run the option here, and he pitches out, and Oh, probably not a good decision there because the ball was not handled very well there. Probably a little too close for comfort for Tyler Atkins, and Cats get a break by going out of bounds there.
That was one of the, almost like the Raiders back in the day where they fumbled the ball all the way up into the end zone. You know, he got the ball, and Atkins was trying to bring it in, but when he seen that he couldn't get it, he just kind of helped it along to the sideline, which actually is a very smart play.
Well, it's kind of interesting. That play ran to the left hash, but then they spotted over on the opposite hash.
Referee's just trying to make the game interesting.
All right, so the Cats run the counter this time. Cut inside. Rushing the football there is number 11, Tyler Atkins.
Whenever we have run the counter, depending on where Bosse is lining up and that hole opens up, our offensive linemen are firing in, getting to their legs, driving them back a couple of yards. But when our back is running the counter and coming around, whether it's right off the center or whether it's right off the outside part of the guard, they are seeing those holes and hitting them with a vengeance.
From the 37, 4th and 2. So now Holsworth is met there. But boy, the forward progress. They weren't able to bring him down. He got hit from behind. He got pushed forward for about another 5 yards or so. And good job by Holsworth. He's having a nice series of downs here.
A lot of pride in these young Wildcats.
Yeah, because actually coming into the season was a little bit of a battle between Wills Winesapple and Holsworth holding his own again against the first team unit for the most part. The Bosse Bulldogs still got on the field. So 1st and 10 for the Cats from the 33. Give the right side, so the Wildcats doing a little bit better job at throwing down hard to the turf. There was number 25, Landon Fleck, on that run.
Well, Bosse's starting to, when they're firing off the ball on the defense, instead of staying low, they're starting to stand up. And our offensive linemen, I don't know if Coach Shelton or somebody got into them, but they're getting into their hips and chopping their legs, and they're actually moving these guys back 3-4 yards.
Yeah, check it out. They're basically just stacking the line of scrimmage. Oh, there we go. There's an opening. And going all the way, 27 yards for the touchdown. Number 25, Landon Fleck, the sophomore running back, gets another score on the board for the Cats.
All the offense had to do. You seen how they were stacking the line. You called it right before it went. They had no defensive backs. They were just rushing everybody. And you and I have talked about all the offensive line has to do is hold their own, break that first line of defense, and then it's a house call, and that's exactly what played out right there.
So the Wildcat JV team doing a great job on this drive, marching right down the field, getting the score there. And they'll go for 2. So Landon Fleck with a 27-yard run. Holsworth had some nice runs on that drive. And Fleck trying to get away from the defender there is not able to get into the end zone for the 2-point conversion. But regardless, clock continues to run, 7:05. Actually, they stop it now, but it's 56 for the Wildcats, 14 for the Bosse Bulldogs here on 18 WJTS. Cole Trefino kicking off here. Not picking off, I don't know what I meant by that. Short, and it's fielded quickly, and then can the Cats make a stop? Little spin move there, but boy. Getting on to that stop, I think that was Trevino. So Trevino makes the play. So the Bulldogs will have the football with a running clock at 6:45 right now, down 56-14 from the 41-yard line.
That was a dangerous play. You know, when you have that kind of speed, pick the ball up at full stride. Nice job of getting down, wrapping him up, and taking him to the turf. And the way our younger guys are playing right now, boy, that sure makes you feel good about the future of this program.
Carson Kelly, number 54, is out there in one of the defensive end spots. But again, they leave their starting tailback. That's pretty pathetic, if you ask me. Jaden Thomas with a run there. Just trying to pad some stats for him is all they're trying to do right now.
Well, playing devil's advocate, could be the coach trying to get their guys a little bit of confidence. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you. I think that at this particular point with a running clock, bring in the young fellas, see what they can do. See how they match
Yeah.
up against our guys.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, so second and short. Handoff on the outside this time, and that's a nice run. So number 5 is Elijah Wagner.
Boy,
sophomore.
Fleck came in there with a vengeance, and I really thought he had the strip. It looked like he had knocked the ball loose a little bit, but they were able to gather and get another yard and a half. But, boy, I thought that ball was going to pop right into his hands.
Just trying to point out some other Wildcat players out there. Number 15, Jared Craven playing a cornerback spot. Wagner gets it again on the left side. So Elijah Wagner gets a first down run there, down to the 38-yard line. A couple other players out there for the Wildcats. Number 84, Mitchell Linebach. Number 81, Davis Rose.
Well, Luckner did a nice job of chasing that down from the back, showing that regardless of what age these Wildcats are when they're out there, they're giving it everything they've got.
Oh, there's a hit in the backfield. Man, coming up, I'm trying to see, I think that was Holsworth. Boy, he just came hard and knocked that football away. So that's going to be a loss all the way back to the 45-yard line. So a little bit of pride shown here by this JV team, including number 54 out in the football field, Carson Kelly. Trying to point out a couple other players as I see them. I got my binoculars here on, Bob. Helps a lot.
Yeah, and how attractive you look with your binoculars.
Just always got to be smart. All right, so a rush to the left side. It's not going to be enough for the first down, I don't believe.
Inside the 40 to about the 38-yard line.
Well, they've been utilizing number 5, Wagner, and he's a sophomore. And one thing I've noticed about him as compared to Thomas really likes to go east and west until he sees something open up and then hit. He's catching the ball on those sweeps on the outside. And even though he's not going directly north and south, he's kind of going like northwest. He's going at a little bit of an angle, so he's chewing up 2-3 yards.
Well, there's a big-time hold, but they're not going to call it here. But the Cats get into the backfield and make the stop, so good job there again by the Wildcat JV unit.
That just makes me proud, seeing these youngsters come in and going up against their top guys and just still going straight at them, regardless of whether they're outsized. They're just showing all kinds of pride. And that makes you feel good about rooting for the black and gold.
Absolutely. Joel Wuchner, number 61, was out there, and also number 5 was Jalen Van Slyke. We'll try to point out some of the offensive linemen out there as well. The center spot looks like that's number 65, Jake Winesapple.
We'll see how he does. He's got a lot of beef to his left and right.
Oh, come on. Absolutely body slamming. You're not going to call that? You're not going to call that. Wow. All right, so Joseph McElroy totally body slams a player down, but the officials laugh it off.
Well, they figured that they'll hear a little bit of ridicule for about another minute 35, and away they go.
All right, so split out here to the near side is number 84, Mitchell Linebach. The Cats just trying to wind this down with 1:25 to go. So Holsworth still moving the pile there, gets across midfield to the 49-yard line.
These young Wildcats, they're getting contact, and they are just not going down. They're fighting with every inch of their life. And that right there is a really good thing for the coach to see.
All right, so we're inside a minute here. And trying to point out a couple players. Nick Weininger's number 62 on the football field right now for the Cats. And we're probably going to see maybe one more play. Number 56 is Dane Smith out there. All right, so the Cats are able to get it, take a knee, and that's going to be the final play of the football game. So the running clock makes this second half go by quickly here, but the Wildcats were able to put a couple scores on the board with an interception return by number 8, Carter Holsworth, and then a 27-yard touchdown run by number 25, Landon Flex. So the sophomore is doing the job when given the opportunity here in the second half. But again, it all started really with what the Wildcats were able to do in the first half, and the Wildcat first unit just pretty well dominated this football game other than one play.
I don't know how else to say this, but it's just attitude. It really is. Bosse got the first big play of the game. Boy, you just thought that they had won the lottery and the whole works. But Jasper went out there, stayed workmanlike, and next thing you know, Bosse's sitting out there. They got their hands on their hips. They're kind of yelling at each other, and But regardless, when I look at the Wildcats tonight, we could talk about several different things. I mean, good Lord, they put up 56 points. But I think the thing that sticks out to me is, even though they had the big lead, you didn't see the silly mistakes. You didn't see the guys falling asleep. They stayed disciplined. They stayed in their routes. They pursued regardless of what the score was. And they didn't go out and have penalty after penalty, putting the ball on the turf, throwing the interceptions, and, guys quitting routes. It didn't matter who Coach Lewis put out there in the game. They were out there fighting hard, and that just makes me proud to be part of this Jasper program.
Well, and I think the other thing, too, is that when you kind of take a look at a football game, you got one team that's pretty well structured in what they want to do, and we were able to pretty well operate with that game plan the entire night. I mean, obviously, the Cats want to run the football. You got a young quarterback, and you had to come in with Weinzappel out tonight. And, we tried a few things with the pass game, but the bottom line is executing at the line of scrimmage. It opened up those holes, and they were just right there for Schneider and everybody else to run through.
Offensive line had a game plan. They executed the game plan. When Bosse was putting up a little bit of fight at the beginning, I mean, we knew, because Bosse had so many guys going both ways, towards the end of the game, Jasper's going to start to open this up a little bit. You could just feel it happening. But they stayed disciplined. Young guys got out there. Our offensive line, I mean, it got to the point to where our defensive line out there looked better firing off the ball than our offensive line, because when Thomas would get the ball, before he had it tucked up against the 2 and the 7, we had guys pulling him down.
Oh, yeah.
Just the speed and the discipline, it really is an impressive thing. And we'll find out next week whether Jasper can continue, because we were worried about this being kind of a trap game.
Mm-hmm.
But, when you see the score off the board that fast, the visiting team did well.
All right, so the Wildcat football team come over here to sing the Wildcat fight song.
I don't see anybody out there that could meet up with Studebaker, though.
They're young. All right, good job, guys. Another big win for the Wildcats. The Wildcats came in actually ranked in the top 5 in both polls. The media poll, they're ranked 4, and also in the coaches poll, ranked 5. So I'm sure they'll probably maintain at least that ranking this week. But, the main thing here, again, every game's a conference game. So that's the number one goal of this football team, is to win the conference. Right now the Wildcats sitting at 4-0. Mater Dei was the only undefeated team yet tonight, and they played Memorial actually at Romaine Stadium just right up the road. So, we'll be curious to see what happens with that one. But, again, it's going to potentially be a matchup of 2 undefeated teams. And, that's going to be quite an event at the Rice Bowl next Friday night.
Well, one of the reasons why I've always been fond of Mater Dei is I've seen a lot of their coaches over the years. Of course, you got Gable, but just the coaches they've had over the years, they remind me so much of the Jasper coaches. Mm-hmm. They're so, fundamentals. Mm-hmm. Stay home. And the coaches on both sides, they preach the same thing. you got to use that thing between your ears.
Right.
Jasper's been outstanding this year so far. And Wrights has been able to, they've got a good quarterback. Memorial's got a decent quarterback. They're going to see another good quarterback next week. But what they will find is when they go up against Mater Dei, from what I've seen from Gainesville so far this year, is Mater Dei will stay as disciplined as Jasper.
Right.
So when you're not taking these scores and open them up and you're getting in the fourth quarter and you're talking 3 points, 7 points, who shakes first?
Right.
So that's what's going to be interesting to me.
Well, it's going to be quite a matchup next Friday night. Again, the Wildcats on the road. 4 of their first 5 games are right down here in Evansville, Indiana, and we'll be at the Wrights Bowl against the Evansville Mater Dei Wildcats next Friday night. So the Wildcats improved to 4-0 with the 56-14 win over the Bosse Bulldogs, who dropped to 2-2. So for Bob Welp and Jeremy Markos on the video, this is Craig Schneider with Wildcat Football here on 18 WJTS. Good night.